Today I want to talk with you about disciplining with dignity. You know, you're not only correcting your child's behavior through something you're requesting that he do, but you're also modeling behavior. And that's the part that most parents forget about, moms forget about. They're angry at the moment, or they get caught off guard because the child just did something disastrous, and they lose their dignity. So we want to talk about staying composed and disciplining with dignity so that your children learn from your demeanor as well as the requests you're making, as well as the modified behavior. Okay, so step number 1 is to lower your voice. You know, Shakespeare said in King Lear, he said, "Her voice was ever soft and low, an excellent thing in a woman." So when a woman carries in her voice carriage a low voice, it's pleasant to be around. The family enjoys having her around because she displays in her voice, in the actual range of her voice, the calmness of the home. She displays dignity. So that's your first lesson, is to lower your voice. You might even want to tape yourself or have someone tape you when you're in the middle of a discussion with a child and evaluate, where is your voice quality? Is it slow? Is it deliberate? And is it low? So this is the exact opposite of the advice you give pilots. You want them to fly high. You don't want a pilot to fly low and slow. But you do want to discipline with lowness and slowness and dignity. So that's the first area of yourself to get mastery over, to show self-control. Now, the next 3 points I learned from a woman who raised 5 children, and they turned out splendidly. 4 of them were boys, and 1 of them was a little girl. And she disciplined with dignity. And so I asked her, what are your tips? How come you got such good success? And one of the things she said was, when they're very, very little and you're issuing a command, go up with your voice rather than down at the end of the phrase. So if you burrow your eyebrows and you go down with your voice at the end of a phrase, it sounds mean. Like if you say, "Johnny, you come here." You've lowered your end of the phrase and you've knit your eyebrows together. Now notice the difference if you say, "Johnny." See how your voice went up? It's still a low voice, but it's traveling up. "Johnny, come here, please." And did you see how I raised my eyebrows? I didn't knit them together. I raised them. So, "Johnny, come here, please." Do you see how much more pleasant that is than an angry look? And Johnny can respond to that. He can be ennobled by your dignity represented in that way of commanding him. And next, you want to control their space. So when you let them down, say in a restaurant, out of your lap, most kids just run all over the place. In fact, in a grocery store, I saw a child one time crawl down and run to the donut section, lift the lid, get a donut out, and then tear off all over the store. And his mother was running around after him, trying to catch him. She clearly had not disciplined at home very much for that to get that out of hand in public. So one of the problems is you have to start by containing their space. So if you let the child down, you say, "You may walk between me," and let's say you're the grandmother and the mother's over there, "You may walk between me and the mother." Or you may, if you're the mother, you may say, "You may walk between me and the dad. You can play in this area." You define their space. So you come ahead of the discipline rather than coming around after the poor discipline, trying to regather the child together. So be sure that you set up clear boundaries for the child that are immediate and containable for when they're very small and when you're in public situations. So those strategies of lowering your voice, raising your eyebrows, raising your request at the end of the sentence, and controlling the space are going to give you good success with discipline. Remember that your children watch you all day. They don't see how crazy they look or how defiant they look. All they see is you. And if you're about ready to lose it or have lost it, wait and discipline later. Just walk away from it, get command of yourself, and discipline later. Come back with dignity. Now, my last point I want to leave with you is to have a backdrop of royalty in your perception of your child and what you train him to be his perception of himself. In other words, you can say, others may do that, but not you. You were born for something better than that. You are going to carry a different demeanor about you because you're very special. So you raise the child's concept of who he is, that he's going to be walking around in the world with dignity and with noblesse, with a nobility to him. And so by your view of him, that there's royalty behind him, that God made him and he's royal seed, you're going to elevate his view of the kind of behavior that's accepted and not accepted. So others may, but we may not. We have a higher calling on our life to function with dignity. So try those little tips and see if it doesn't make a big difference.